Now a message to my English-speaking friends, because I'm already seeing people are organizing protests, hands off Venezuela, let's defend Maduro, we love dictators. Do not, for a moment, let your hatred and disdain for Donald Trump, an unsavory character, have you defending the dictator of my country that was destroyed by him and Chavez and their system 20 years ago. We Venezuelans are very, very happy that our dictator has been arrested, removed, and will be put through a trial. It's the first time we're seeing justice in 26 years. Now let's hope that they get the rest of the criminals out of Venezuela, and then we can return home.
Hey, welcome to Courageous Media. Really, thanks to everybody for rolling up. We had to go live today, obviously, in light of the breaking news that the United States has acted. We have acted in light of the Monroe Doctrine, which is now the Donroe Doctrine. Let's be clear. Donald Trump has taken the Monroe Doctrine to the next level. But this goes back to the 1800s. This goes back to the Monroe Doctrine, which says we will not let any foreign influences encroach upon North or South America. Our hemisphere will be ours. That's been a U.S. policy for darn near 200 years. And it has only been in the last 50 years that the idiot Dems and the rhino Republicans have let it slip. Well, Donald Trump, and let's put credit where it's due. Big Marco Rubio, who, boy, he has got some cojones. Whoever thought that Marco Rubio would have the cojones that he's got? Because he has become a completely different person since becoming Secretary of State. And it's been a pleasure to watch. It's been absolutely amazing. But so those of you who don't know, maybe you're just tuning in, maybe you're wondering what the heck this thumbnail was all about. The United States executed a precision operation. Again, an operation that no Democrat president or Democrat Secretary of Defense would ever even undertake, let alone could they do it. This is not the debacle that was the Afghan withdrawal. No. This is Donald Trump and his administration carrying off a precision strike that no one thought possible. No one thought they could actually do this, and they pulled it off. They basically bombed. They used airstrikes against the air defenses and against the bases in close proximity to Caracas to essentially cover an operation in which the Joint Special Ops Force, consisting of SEAL Team 6, Delta Force, the Night Stalkers, went in and executed a raid on the presidential palace and extracted Maduro and his wife in less than 3 hours, from start to finish, from the first plane, the first rolling off the deck, from the first helicopter taking off to the time that Maduro was in custody on a U.S. boat and the president of the United States was addressing the country via tweet was 3 hours. The special forces op in his house was in and out in minutes. It was so fast, Maduro could not even get to his safe room. Let's dive right in. I really appreciate everybody rolling up. Thanks so much for being here. Let's check out what happened today in Venezuela.
He was in a house that was more like a fortress than a house. It had steel doors.
He was just minutes in this rain. Captured, he says. Sources tell CNN less than President Donald Trump is planning to speak at 11 a.m. Eastern, less than an hour or so from now, down at Mar-a-Lago in Florida, after confirming that the United States military struck Venezuela early this morning, overnight. And the country's president, Nicolás Maduro, and his wife, Celia Flores, have been captured, he says. Sources tell CNN the couple were dragged from their beds in the middle of the night during this raid, I should say. President Trump confirmed more detail just minutes ago during an interview with Fox News.
He was in a house that was more like a fortress than a house. It had steel doors. It had what they call a safety space, where it's, solid steel all around. He didn't get that space closed. He was trying to get into it, but he got bum rushed so fast that he didn't get into that. We were prepared. We had, massive blowtorches and everything else that you need to get through that steel, but we didn't need it. He didn't make it to that area of the house.
During that interview, the president also said he watched the operation in real time from Mar-a-Lago, his estate down in Florida, and he confirmed a U.S. military helicopter was damaged during the operation. Some Americans, he said, were injured. He said that Maduro and his wife are on board the USS Iwo Jima right now, and they're all heading towards New York. The U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi says Maduro and his wife have been indicted, while Bondi confirmed that Maduro was indicted on narco-terrorism conspiracy charges. It's unclear what the First Lady, Celia Flores, is charged with, if anything. Those strikes were not a complete surprise, as President Trump has been warning of land strikes in Venezuela for weeks. However, a source now tells CNN the White House began notifying congressional leadership about these strikes. He did so after the strikes occurred. Vice President.
Of course he did it after the strikes occurred. He's not going to let Congress know about this. At least half of Congress, if not 80% of Congress, is in bed with the cartels. All of the Democrats essentially take money from the cartels. They have been supporting the drug trafficking and the human trafficking that the cartels do for decades now. Why? Because those cartels contribute to their campaigns. It is why the Democrat Party is actually a demonic party of evil. They support this stuff because they make money from it. It's a reason why in all your Democrat cities, they coddle drug dealers. They allow the drug trade to go on. They allow it to go on the streets. They don't actually ever do anything about it. It's why no Democrat administration has ever done anything about the cartels. They are in bed with them. It's why every time there's a drug dealer on trial, you see the Democrats actually go shill for them. It's why they were shilling for the Maryland father and all these knuckleheads. They are in bed with them. Well, Donald Trump is not. And Donald Trump has executed a new level of the Don Roe doctrine. I guarantee you, when that carrier task force moved into Venezuela, what was it? A month and a half ago, nearly? This operation was already planned. They were just waiting. As they said, as Donald Trump said in his long form press conference, they were waiting for the right moment. One of the reasons, and Rubio echoed this, one of the reasons they did not inform Congress was this was one of those operations that you wait until every single aspect is in place and the timing is right. You're waiting, you're watching Maduro, you're watching his every move. You know where he's at. You understand the weather, you understand the timelines, you understand everything else that's going on in the country, where the moon is, the whole 9 yards. And when all of those variables fall into place, at that point you go. And there was no way they were ever going to, they couldn't inform Congress, hey, we're going to do this in 10 days. They couldn't do that. And there's no way they were ever going to do it in the first place. Congress is leakier than Swiss cheese. So it was absolutely brilliant. And again, to echo Pam Bondi, he's already been indicted. He was indicted in absentia by the Southern District of New York for narco trafficking, narco-terrorism. Donald Trump and Marco Rubio, from the day they took office, have said that he is not the legitimate leader of Venezuela. He is his own installed dictator. He is their illegitimate leader. They do not recognize him as a head of state. So I guarantee you, when they moved that carrier in, they started trafficking the drug boats. That was just the preamble. That was to get everybody focused on, oh my gosh, the United States is targeting drug boats. No. The carrier task force was not there to target drug boats. They could have done that from anywhere. No, the carrier task force was there to implement this operation, to take Maduro out of Venezuela and to return Venezuela to the people. This is absolutely amazing stuff. And Donald Trump said in his remarks exactly what's going to happen. But before we get into that, we're going to finish this segment here, and then we're going to get into the libs absolutely melting down while Venezuelans around the world celebrate in absolute joyful ecstasy. Let's keep going.
President J.D. Vance is already weighing in with a message, and I'm quoting him now. Everyone's saying this was illegal. He says Maduro can't avoid justice for drug trafficking here just because he lives in Caracas. CNN's White House reporter Elena Treen is joining me now. She's here with me in the Situation Room. You just learned some new information about when planning for this operation actually got underway.
Yeah, so according to some of my sources, as well as those of Kylie Atwoods and Kevin Liptax, we were told that the preparations for this operation actually began back in mid-December. And I'd note that we knew that the president had been looking at potential plans to strike land inside Venezuela, as well as to try and oust.
All right, so we're going to I absolutely. Now, I am not one. I do not want any foreign wars. I don't want any foreign entanglements like the rhino deep state Republicans like Bush and Cheney and all the Democrats have gotten us involved in. I do not want a prolonged, protracted war anywhere, which is why I have loved what Trump has done over and over again. When we had a problem in Syria with ISIS, he went in and struck it in one day. Done, gone. When we had a problem with the Houthis in Yemen, boom, couple days of strikes, over. When we needed to decapitate Iran's military capability, did we send troops on the ground? Did we mobilize 300,000 people and go stick them there for 27 years and spend $20 trillion? No. In 24 hours, they executed a precision military strike that no one thought possible across the world with bombers that absolutely decapitated the Iranian nuclear capability. And now, in this strike here, inside of 3 hours, in and out, with actual boots on the ground, wasn't just an airstrike. It was airstrikes plus special forces on the ground, in and out, 3 hours, done. And now Venezuela can be returned to the people, which is absolutely fantastic because this is America first. It's not America retreats. Now, I know there's a lot of people who may, even on the conservative side, who may be somewhat, they're either upset or they're on the fence about this. What are we doing? Guess what? This is the Monroe Doctrine. I am not an America retreats guy. I am an America first guy. If it is in America's interest, go for it. Those wars, 10,000 miles, not actually 10, but halfway around the world in the Middle East were never in America's interest. Yes, we needed to take out Al-Qaeda after the World Trade Center nonsense. The way we did it was an absolute blunder. Spending $20 trillion in 20 years there was ridiculous. No, this is what we need to do, precision strikes. And in this particular case, Venezuela has been the foothold for Iran, for Russia, and for China in our hemisphere. And between Rubio, Big Marco, and Donald Trump, they have said no. They went to Panama and said, Belt and Road Initiative, you can either ditch that right now, or we will take the Panama Canal back by force. And look at what Panama did. Yeah. Hey, China, thanks, but no thanks. You're invited to leave. We're in bed with America because we know where our bread is buttered. And Venezuela was the country that was a major linchpin for our enemies in this hemisphere. And Trump said, no, it's not going to happen. And we have an illegitimate dictator. So in 3 hours, they have completely changed the American hemisphere. Now, check this out, because the libs are absolutely melting down while the Venezuelans worldwide are absolutely ecstatic. Check this out.
Question for Donald Trump and his supporters. What's the plan? It's 5 a.m. on the East Coast right now. Donald Trump just announced that the U.S. military has captured Nicolás Maduro and his wife, the president of Venezuela, after we bombed Venezuela in the middle of the night, focusing on their capital city. And I'm just curious, what's the plan? What are we going to do with Maduro, with his wife? Where are they going? What's next for Venezuela? There's a massive power vacuum in Venezuela right now, and I can guarantee that there are already bad groups in that country looking to take power. Regime change, historically, has not worked very well. We in the United States should know that by now, but we're doing it again. Donald Trump, the guy who said no more war, just captured the president from another country. So I'm just curious what the plan is. The defense minister of Venezuela survived the attack, had a press conference after saying there's going to be retaliation. It's not over. They want to beat the United States. So what's next? Did they think this through?
They've absolutely thought it through. We're going to get into exactly what happens next at the end of this segment. But we already know what's happening to Maduro and his wife. They're on the USS Iwo Jima steaming towards New York. Well, they will be tried for narco-terrorism. They're going down. And no, the defense minister can give all the press conferences he wants, but they are not in control of Venezuela. Let's keep going. Before I do that, I just want to give a shout out. Thanks everybody for rolling up. Talisha Clark in the house. Mary Diaz, 8297 in the house. Busy Buzz in the house. Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate y'all rolling up. I agree with you, Busy Buzz. What great courage and bravery it took for the U.S. to act decisively. All right, let's keep going.
Let me take that back. I already know the answer. No, they did not. No.
This news is so awful. I'm so terrified. It opens up doors. Now they could come and do the same thing to us and take away our president and his wife. Wouldn't that be terrible?
Well, Trump just bombed Venezuela for no reason. He just attacked an innocent country for no reason.
I wouldn't call it no reason, since we have 100,000 people dying every year from the drug trade, from fentanyl, from cocaine, from other drugs. The illicit drug trade in the United States takes 100,000 lives a year. Realize that in basically 6-7 years, that is more than every death suffered by every American in every war going back to the revolution. No Democrat has ever decried the 100,000 deaths a year. No, they don't care about that. No, they care about narco-terrorists, because those narco-terrorists fund their campaigns. And so it is for every reason that Donald Trump has done this. And because the Monroe Doctrine says we will not allow foreign adversaries a foothold in our hemisphere. Not going to happen. You may not like it worldwide, but that is our doctrine, that is our policy, and that will never change.
This is how bad those files are. The wartime president just started World War III. You maggots did this to our country. You did this with your pig-headed ignorance.
Yo, so it's being reported right now that Caracas is under attack, getting bombed from the air, possibly from drones. There's been reports of blackouts. This is a message for all active duty. If you ever get this, I want you to know something, that America is not behind you. This ain't like the Afghan war and the Iraqi war, where you got to come home and be celebrated as a hero, have romantic movies made for you in Hollywood. Nah, America is like what the right now.
America is 100% behind our armed forces. These people are absolutely delusional. They have let their TDS, as the very first clip that we showed, they have let their TDS, their hatred for Trump, completely blind them to what this is all about and the fact that this has been coming for decades now. Let's keep going. Check this out. Let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think about the strike on Venezuela? I'd love to hear beyond Buzzy Buzz what's going on. Here we go.
Going into another country with enough firepower to take their president and then saying you're going to charge their president with criminal charges in our country is such an insane breach of sovereignty. I'm like so shook.
Yeah, just a quick question. Just so we're all aligned in 2026, we know we're not the good guys, right?
Okay, well, if you're not a bot, which you might be, I don't even care. Do you know what happens when the United States starts bombing and invading a sovereign country?
To be more clear, the United States bombed Venezuela and then abducted their president and his wife.
Be honest. Who's secretly rooting for Venezuela and Iran?
Donald Trump, yo sé que posiblemente tú no vayas a ver este video. Yo lo sé, lo tengo claro. Pero coño, no nos puedes quitar el privilegio de mostrarnos una foto de ese coño de su madre tras las rejas, ¿vale? Por favor, te lo pedimos. Hoy es el mejor día de nuestras vidas para todos esos venezolanos. Dios mío, hoy es un día bendecido que nunca vamos a olvidar.
Yo creo que nadie entiende la emoción. Pero desde mis 7 años me tocó vivir en un país donde me arrebataron mi infancia, me arrebataron todo. Dicen que sí tienen a Maduro.
¿Quién dice?
Salió Delcy diciendo que dónde Carrizo estaba. Ay, no, yo le juro, no sé, no me quiero ilusionar. Gente, Maduro fue capturado.
No te podía creer cuando estaba viendo esto.
Le queremos dar gracias a Dios por su milagro, a los que no dejan de creer que Dios es grande.
The Venezuelans are absolutely ecstatic about this because they've been living under this narco-terrorist, communist dictator schmuck for decades now. Him and his predecessor Chavez allowed Cuba to essentially take over Venezuela. And they have been running it as a narco-terrorist communist dictatorship since that time. And they have destroyed Venezuelan lives and have forced millions of Venezuelans to other countries, including the United States of America. This is a great day for Venezuela, and it is a great day for the Americas. Now, check this out. I got one more video on the meltdown between Libs, because this is just an absolute great montage. Check this out. Let me know what you think in the comments.
We're bombing Venezuela right now. It is 2:35 a.m. and Pete Kegsbrook, fucking cosplay G.I. Joe, is literally bombing Venezuela. You guys didn't stop them when they were bombing boats in the ocean. You didn't stop them when they fucking took a tanker off the coast of Venezuela like a...
Yes, he says, Venezuela is free. Venezuela is liberated. Venezuela is free. Now, this is absolutely great stuff. Now, to go back to that idiot, beta male's question. What do we do now? What's the plan? What's the plan? Well, I can tell you what the plan is. The plan is that there will be no foreign influence in our hemisphere. And it's going to start with basically what Donald Trump said in his press conference. Check this out, because this is the initial plan. I want to get into Rubio's comments. Here we go.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious.
So his claim, knuckleheads claim that, the defense minister of Venezuela was giving a press conference saying, we're going to fight, we're going to take America down. No, basically Donald Trump and the members of his cabinet are already in control of the situation. They've already got members of the Venezuela government that are acting as their essentially surrogates. They are going to administer the country until they can turn it over to a duly elected representative of the people, which will not be a communist dictator. And in the meantime, they are going to rebuild the oil infrastructure of Venezuela and turn Venezuela into what it should have been for the last 40 years, the richest country in South America. Venezuela is sitting on the largest oil reserves in the world. They should be as prosperous as the UAE, as Qatar, as Saudi Arabia. They are in basically, in essence, floating on oil as much as the Emirates is, which has built the entire city of Dubai with oil money. Venezuela should look like that, and Donald Trump is going to help it get there. Now, check out Rubio's comments, because to these liberal idiots, yes, there is a plan. Unlike Bush, the deep state rhino moron, who is still better than any Democrat in the world, or Biden or Obama, who none of those people had a plan because they weren't working for America. They were operating on behalf of the deep state, on behalf of the globalist cabal of corruptocrats. Donald Trump did not invade Venezuela, had no intention of invading Venezuela. He took out an illegitimate dictator and brought him back to the United States for prosecution. Meanwhile, they're going to set up a peaceful transition of power within Venezuela and let it join the community of nations once again, while we get reimbursed for all of the oil assets that we lost, while the Venezuelan people get to repopulate their oil industry with private capital that the oil companies are going to pay for, and they get to enjoy the prosperity that should have been theirs for the last 40 years. Now check out Rubio.
Region. Over 8 million The Venezuelan regime is a source of instability in the entire region. Over 8 million Venezuelans have flooded into neighboring countries as a result of the regime's activities within their own country, including into the United States. They also happen to be the foothold of Iran. That's not spoken about enough. Iran, its IRGC, and even Hezbollah has a presence in South America, and one of their anchor presence, especially for the Iranians, is inside of Venezuela. So the Venezuelan regime is a source of instability in the entire region. Over 8 million Venezuelans have flooded into neighboring countries.
So there you've got Rubio basically talking about exactly what's going on. The fact is that Venezuela, essentially being a surrogate or a foothold for Iran, China, Russia, Cuba in South America, has destabilized the entire region. That's why you've got a communist in Colombia. That's why you've got essentially, budding war between Colombia and Venezuela. That's why you've got the problems that you have. That's why you've got mass illegal immigration into other countries and the United States by Venezuelans. That's why you've got the sponsorship of narco-terrorism and essentially, narco-illegal immigration into the United States. And Donald Trump said, enough is enough. We're not doing any of this anymore. We are putting a stop to it. We're going to cut the head off the snake, and then we'll see where it goes. And they know exactly what they're doing. They're not leaving this to chance. It's not going to be like, well, hey, let's just see where Venezuela. No. They are going to administer it. They are going to rebuild the oil industry. They are going to turn it into a prosperous nation. They're going to set up a transition of power. They've already been in contact with the opposition leader, the Nobel Prize winner that got kicked out of the country, as well as the vice president. Now, he was appointed by Maduro, but evidently that vice president has already told Trump, hey, I'll do whatever you want. You just say the word and we'll make it happen. So they've had a plan for months. They've been planning this for months, and they executed it with absolute precision and perfection. Not a single U.S. casualty. And Nicolás Maduro and his wife are on their way to the United States for prosecution in less than 3 hours. Absolutely amazing. Let me know what you think in the comments. I think this is a great day for America. It's an even greater day for Venezuela. Just take a cue from the Venezuelans around the world who are celebrating in joyous ecstasy today because their country is free. Their country has a chance again to be free and prosperous and amazing. And they are all thanking God and thanking Donald Trump. Lynn Swinger, thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate you rolling up. Hey, what's sucked in? Bible study is always better. I would say choose Bible study over the show any day of the week, but so glad you're here. Please check out the whole video. Thanks everybody for being here. I am going to celebrate the fact that Venezuela is no longer a narco-terrorist surrogate of Iran and China. It is a great day. It's a great day to be an American. It's a great day to be America first. I hope you all have a fantastic Saturday. And remember, God is good and he is sovereign. It'll all be good in the end. Till I catch you next time. Have a great day.